Yo, what's up? My name's Patrouski, and today I'm going to be problem solving an issue that you might have found yourself in PokeMMO. So sometimes you might have some really good Pokemon that can really work well, but they might be missing like one quick little thing, and that's what's kind of preventing them from selling on the GTL. When people look for things on the GTL, they're usually looking for a very specific thing. And I have 3 examples here today showing you guys why these 3 Pokemon, while being really good for specific reasons in their own right, haven't sold yet on the GTL, and I'm going to be fixing them and putting a little bit of time and effort into them to make them sell a lot faster and make a lot more Pokeyen. First things first, let's go ahead and focus on the Rotom. And if I'm being totally honest, this is probably the best one of the bunch, and I'm honestly surprised it hasn't sold yet, but it's missing one thing that a Rotom needs, which is the speed stat. And you honestly don't even need it to be too high. You don't really need to go for a 31 speed, but we might end up doing that today. It's also missing that nature. So Rotom is a Pokemon that it wants the really high defense stat, it wants a bold nature, it wants to actually go defensive because it has natural stats in all the other areas, so it's nice to be able to make it really bulky, and it sort of just takes on everything. Having a high HP stat, defense stat, special attack, special defense, and speed is super important on Rotom. Now, the nature is obviously the biggest thing here, but I thought this Rotom could sell really well as a breeder, but it turns out people often go for the speed stat really early on into the breed to avoid having to pay a lot more down the line. So it's actually kind of a weird position to be in, which is the whole point of this video. Having a Pokemon that is really good, has some value, but it's kind of in a weird position where people aren't buying it and aren't really looking for it. So we're going to go ahead and clean this guy up. We're going to look for a Ditto breeder on the GTL, which will probably be cheaper than a Rotom breeder, and we'll go ahead and make a breed and make it a more desirable Pokemon while also increasing our profits. Now, the Ditto I'm going to be grabbing off the GTL is going to end up costing me around 32k, which, to be totally honest, is quite expensive for this breed, but it's been really tough recently to find Dittos with the 31 speed plus other stats, plus those defensive stats. So honestly, since the market's been pretty tough for it right now, I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. We'll go pick that up from the mail, and we'll set up this first breed. Here's what the first breed is going to look like. It's really hard for me to track profits versus cost in this video since I don't really know how much I paid for making this first Rotom and these first Pichus since it was so long ago. But usually, as long as you're breeding smart, you're probably going to make profit. So I'm pretty confident that I've made profit on this. It's really hard to lose money breeding unless you really makes a lot of mistakes or are pretty new to it. So as long as you know what you're doing, usually you make some really decent profit. We're going to go ahead and pop through on that breed, hoping for a really good nature on that. Either bold, you could even go modest or timid, but really bold would be preferable. You could even make certain things work. Relaxed would be okay. Quiet would be okay, but quiet's really pushing it. But there's some things that could work. Or it could just come out with a terrible nature, and honestly, we could sell it as a breeder, and that's sort of our intention. We want it to be a better breeder for someone looking for that, so I think it could really work out. Let's go ahead and work on these Pichus while that egg is hatching. So let's first look at this female Pichu. The reason this female Pichu is very good is because it's a perfect breeder for Chansey, which is in the same fairy age group in it, having that 30 HP, 30 defense, 31 special defense, just a super good tank breeder. Now, you might have just noticed by what I said, there's 2 issues with this Pokemon. First of all, it's a Pichu, so it can't breed because it's a baby Pokemon. If you have an issue selling a baby Pokemon, I heavily recommend just taking the time to go level it up or gain the happiness and do whatever it takes to evolve it into a breedable Pokemon. A lot of people don't want to take the time to buy a baby Pokemon, even if it fits their breed perfectly, to go like level it up and evolve it and everything. People are just lazy and they like to buy breeders kind of straight and ready to go. So if your Pokemon's like this, honestly, it's worth to go ahead and go evolve it. Now, the second issue is this Pichu is male. So there's a really good argument for me going ahead and just breeding this over to a male, but that would be pretty expensive, and it's really awkward to find this breed. I might do that in this video, but it's very possible I just evolve this and kind of just stop from there and make the other person breed it into another breeder, etc., etc. But if I want to go the full mile, I could go ahead and breed this thing into a male, but that'll depend on the market and if I can find a good price for it. Now, this second Pichu, pretty much the only thing wrong with it is that it just needs to be leveled up and evolved. That's pretty much it. This is a perfect breeder for someone because they could be putting HP on it at the very last minute. So this is a perfect Pichu for someone who's looking for a special attacking male breeder in the fairy type or field age group, I believe is what Pikachu is in. But the reason people can't find this Pokemon is because if you see how it cannot breed. There's no age group attached to it. So if you're on the GTL, and you're looking for, let's say, a fairy, male. It's also a male Pichu, which is really relevant, really good. If you're looking for, for a Pokemon with stats just like this Pichu, right? Let's go ahead and just copy. It's not going to come up. if you need a Pokemon, it's just not going to come up because it's a baby Pokemon. It can't breed. So it's not technically in the egg group, even though if you were to just evolve the Pichu, it would then become into the egg group. So it's important to understand like why people want to buy things, what you're looking for, and how to make things more sellable. So really just by evolving both of these Pichu, you're going to have a great bet at selling your Pokemon. I think evolving baby Pokemon is probably one of the best quick tips you can do to just start selling more Pokemon on the GTL. Alright, so while I'm about to level up the Pichus, it looks like my Rotom did hatch, so let's go ahead and check that out. I already did check it, and unfortunately, it did come out hasty nature, which is pretty bad / unfortunate, but at the same time, you know what? I think this is now sellable. Someone might be willing to buy this as a breeder Rotom. They could breed up its HP to like 31 or something and have another random roll at the nature, or just go ahead and breed a correct nature onto it, or breed the special attack IV up if you want. A lot of people, you see a lot of 31 special attack IV on Rotom, and honestly, you really don't need it. Obviously, it's really nice. It's really, really, really nice, but the 31 defense actually ends up being more important most of the time, in my opinion, and I actually like going slightly lower than 31 speed for slower vault switches, but that's a different video. But I think that Rotom is now sellable. That guy is considered fixed. Let's go ahead and not worry about him. We could even look to continue on that breed though if you want, but let's go ahead and focus on these Pichus and get the leveling going. You can really do this leveling wherever you want. I kind of just like Heatmore because I love the idea of getting a shiny Heatmore, as well as they train special attack stat, and if someone maybe wants the off chance of buying these Pikachus or Pichus as a Pikachu, as a Pokemon with special attack stat, why not? For those who don't know, leveling baby Pokemon is a super quick way of getting their happiness up, especially if they're level 1. Level 1 is the best way to level them up for a ton of happiness. As you can see, their happiness went from level 27 all the way up to 49% just with one singular horde. So it's only going to take maybe one inventory full of hordes to get them all the way up to like the 87% happiness, maybe less. So you get X amount of happiness. I forget how much, but you get a certain percent of happiness increase each level up. And it's the same per level up. So the same amount of happiness percent you get from level 99 to 100, you also get that from level 1 to 2. So the lower levels are really, really fast for happiness, but the higher levels are really, really bad for happiness. And I wouldn't recommend leveling Pokemon at those higher levels for happiness. That would just take forever. Now, while I have some downtime while I'm just leveling, I wanted to go ahead and talk about the most difficult thing about this video and / the most difficult thing about doing something like this, and it's really analyzing what the Pokemon needs to become sellable. And that's not really something that everyone can just do immediately at the start. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of just understanding and thinking and just time and practice and browsing the GTL and understanding and researching. It's a really difficult thing. And I understand that. Like for me, like you have to understand like, hey, like what egg group is this Pokemon is. The first thing you can ask yourself are, hey, what Pokemon is this egg group in? What Pokemon that share that egg group might find these IVs useful? What IVs does this specific species need? Can this Pokemon breed? It is a baby, of course. What egg moves are relevant? What egg moves can be taught or can be bred from this Pokemon to another? There's a lot of questions to ask. And it is really, really complicated. And it's just, there's so many things that come into it, and just really just try your best. And I think this video was all about showing you guys these 3 examples of, hey, here's 2 baby Pokemon that are good for different reasons. And here is, a Rotom Pokemon, a genderless Pokemon that was kind of just missing a stat because usually speed is bred on pretty early because that's obviously very important to the breed and a lot of people want that 31. But if you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below or hit up my Discord. My Discord is a great place to ask questions when it comes to breeding, competitive, PvP. I think one of the coolest chats in my Discord is competitive help. If you want to get into PvP in PokeMMO, there are some really talented players over there who are just so unbelievably generous with their time, and I can't thank them enough because like basically my mods and everyone in my Discord, like my community, they run the Discord by itself. I don't even have to like do that much with my Discord, but every time I check in, there's always some cool stuff going on. There's always some cool conversation. People are talking about different teams, doubles, just like really different cool ideas and theory crafting. It's really cool to read through, and it warms my heart. It's a really cool place, and I couldn't recommend my Discord more than enough to just learn a lot about the game. Alright, I'm pretty close to the happiness levels on those Pichus. It's really quick to do so. I only did 4 Sweet Scents, so 4 hordes, but I wanted to actually show you guys a quicker way to do so, and it involves raising the Pokemon's happiness via berries. So I actually have a happiness guide here on my channel. I'll try to link it in the description. If I don't, please remind me. But if you just Google like PokeMMO happiness guide, my video should come up on Google. But I went ahead and bought these IAPA berries. These are specific berries due to the natures on these Pokemon. Neutral nature Pokemon like this Pichu can just use whatever happiness berry. This Pichu that's bold specifically needs IAPA or Greppa berries to make it happy. So please get the correct berries in relation to your nature. Now, we're going to go ahead and check their happiness level. They're 61% at the moment. I'm going to put them on this one and see it go up. You can see happiness plus 9.8. I believe we're going to go ahead and put 2 of these on there, put it to 81%. Honestly, we'll just do another. I think the threshold for evolving is like 87% or 88. It's something very, very close to that. So we're going to go ahead and put these 3 on like that. There we go. And now we can just do one sweet scent, and upon level up, they'll just go ahead and evolve. And those berries are pretty cheap. They are around 1K a piece. So it's nice to get the free happiness just from the really quick early levels. But once it slows down a little bit, it's not bad to spend, 5K on some berries and just go ahead and get it done with. Save a little bit of time, but it's totally up to you. You could level up all the way and save all your Pokeyen and just spend a little bit more time leveling, or you could use berries from the very start, spend a little more Pokeyen, like 16K on both these, or like, let's say you have to pay like 8 or 9K, or probably 8K, yeah, 8K per one Pokemon to use just a ton of berries, or probably less than that even. It's pretty cheap. There we go. Here's our Pichus evolving. These will evolve into Pikachus, and I can go ahead and throw them up on the GTL, and this should make everything sell a lot faster. Alright, now that I've gone ahead and fixed all my 3 Pokemon, it's time to go ahead and show you guys me listing them on the GTL for an accurate price. Alright, so we're going to start with the Rotom, and to find a price check on that, here's the advanced search that I did. I just did 20 plus in HP and special attack and special defense, even though these two are 25 plus, just to find more options and have more things to compare it to, alongside the 2 times 31. Now, our most comparable Rotom is not this 400k one, it's this one that's just 100k Pokeyen. Now, ours is much better in the special attack and special defense stat and HP, which is relevant. All of our defense stats and our special attack are a bit better, which is super, super relevant in the breed. This one is Calm Nature, which honestly works a little bit better than ours. So it's a tough sell. I think this one's a little underlisted though. It's only been listed for 8 hours. I really want to list mine for 120k, and I think that's what I'm going to do. Although you could arguably go ahead and list this thing for 99,998 and just undercut this one. Even though you could, it's really tough. You could really do either here. It's totally up to you. Price checks are definitely up to perception at times and up to your own judgment calls. I think the reason I'm listing mine for 120k is not because I think mine is going to sell before this one. I think it's actually the opposite. What I'm planning to do is I'm going to wait until this one sells, and then mine should be the one that sells after. It should be one of the only options, and I think it's worth that price. I still think it's a fair enough price where someone will buy it. So there we go, 120k from that Rotom. Now onto the Pikachus. Let's go ahead and start with the male one, since that should be a lot easier. I'm going to be honest, I'm having a really hard time finding a comparable Pokemon to price check for my Pikachu. If I do the 31, even just 20 plus, even though these are 27 plus in both those stats, my only price check is comparable to this Shroomish, which is 3 times 31, and I think this is also aggressively overpriced. 3 times 31 Shroomish for 216k is pretty crazy. Now, the Fairy Egg group is pretty freaking expensive, especially looking at this. Now, I went ahead and just price checked this just by the flat 2 times 31 Fairy and Male, and I'm going to be adding a decent amount of value just because those 2 extra stats being 27 plus and being really relevant stats is really, really important. If the 27 was in attack, if the attack and the defense were switched here, this would be a much, much, much less expensive Pikachu. But the fact that it has that 27 defense, 29 special attack, and it just needs an HP on the breed, it's just a really, really nice Pokemon to be bred. So I think I'm actually going to be listing this for 80k, essentially. But this is very much a guesstimate price check. So this is something that just takes experience, and I might have to relist this. We'll see. I honestly want to list this for more, kind of, but it's a weird sell. So I'm going to go ahead and list it for this, and we'll see how this goes. This Pikachu is, once again, a really awkward sell. If I took the time and energy and put some love into it, I could go ahead and maybe breed it into a male, maybe breed its speed stat up, and it would just be an incredible Chansey breeder. And the nature is actually this is the perfect nature for a Chansey. But unfortunately, since it's so awkward, I think I kind of have to sell it around this like 55k price. It's probably what I'm going to go ahead and go for. It's very similar to, this is the Fairy Aid group with these 30 stats across. This Frostlass has 2 times 31, and this Shroomish has, I believe, just 30s across. I'm going to go ahead and sell it in between them, at 54,999, and I think that's pretty fair. I think it's honestly really cheap and more than fair. I think someone could actually go ahead and pick up this Pikachu, buy it, and put that love and care into it that I don't really want to right now, and make it into a really fantastic breeder, and maybe either make a really incredible Chansey comp with it or sell it as a really incredible Chansey competitive breeder. But that's it. That's all of the Pokemon that I wanted to go ahead and fix today. That should fix their selling times. That should make them sell faster. It should pretty much just aid my GTL experience. Hopefully this video was helpful to you guys. I wanted to just do it as sort of a pretty casual but fun and thought process, sort of behind the scenes stuff you don't really hear people talk about sort of video. So if it was enjoyable or it helped you, make sure to leave a like button or leave a like on the video. It helps out a ton, helps the algorithm, as well as subscribing to the channel. I believe only around 38% of my viewers are subscribed. Hit up the Discord link, as I talked about so much earlier. And then finally, if you want to go above and beyond, there are financial links down below, like becoming a YouTube member for $5 a month, or dropping a Twitch Prime or Twitch sub over on my Twitch, or most importantly, hitting up my PayPal or Venmo, which are linked down below. None of that's ever needed. I'm just happy to be able to make PokeMMO content for you guys. So thank you all so much. Have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Peace. Hey, if you're watching this, that means you watched till the very end of the video, and I really appreciate that. This screen is used to say thank you to everyone who goes above and beyond and supports me. Anyone who's a YouTube member, Twitch Prime, Twitch sub, Patreon member, whatever you support, I really appreciate it, and you allow me to keep making videos. Thank you so much, and have a good one.